What about you, Timmy's here. Now, Kevin Smith, of course, has directed some really cool movies over the years, whether it's the Clerks movies, Jane Silent Bob, and all. But about 8 years ago, he directed one of the most oddest, weirdest movie I have ever seen. And that was this movie he did in 2014, simply titled Tusk. I remember when this thing first, when this thing was first marketed, it was, of course, an A24 film here. I remember when this thing was first marketed, they did not show what this Wars was going to look like. The trailer looked. I had no idea what the heck this thing it was. But then I saw this movie about, I believe it was opening day. It, I'm one of the rare folks who is actually defending this movie, but even I will say this is one of the weirdest movies I have ever seen. I mean, if you guys really don't know much about Tusk, it's more like this podcaster played by Justin Long, travels to this cabin where this author played by the late great Michael Parks is, and here he has and well he ends up Michael Parks' character ends up kidnapping Justin Long's character, and I kid you not, he transforms Justin Long into a walrus. That's right, a walrus, Alf. Yeah, it's like a weird version of Human Centipede. But anyway, now they never really done a sequel. I guess you could say they did more of a spin-off, which was Yoga Hosers, which featured the same characters of that of Tusk, but wasn't really a sequel. Well, looks like we could be getting a sequel. A Crunch Play discussing, we're now 8 years removed from Kevin Smith's Tusk, one of the wildest horror movies to make its way into theaters in the past 10 years. Smith took a big swing with his second horror movie, turning Justin Long into a human walrus hybrid and going to bizarre places even the most bizarre horror movies rarely go. Nearly a decade later, is looks like a Tusk 2 might actually be coming. Kevin Smith has been teasing Tusk 2 on and off for years, but this latest tease comes from Tusk star Justin Long. According to Long, Smith is developing a Tusk sequel movie. Here's what he ended up saying. You'll be happy to hear Kevin Smith just announcing. I mean, I guess they're doing Tusk 2. I think Long tells slash film. Long continues saying that he tests us all the other day, including Haley Joel Osment and Janice Rodriguez, and he told us that he wanted to do it, and I thought it was a joke, and then I realized he was being serious, and then one of the other interviewers said, yeah, he said the same thing to me. Now, again, this isn't the first time Tusk 2 has came up in conversation. It was back in August 2020 that Smith originally teased a follow-up movie while chatting with fans on Twitch. Now, I know he's been he ended up saying at the time, I'm shocked we got away with Tusk 1, but I do have a story for Tusk 2. The great Micah Parks, who played Howard Howe, the guy who turns Wallace into a walrus, sadly passed away a couple years ago. Amazing actor that I got to work with twice. But in the ending of Tusk, if I wanted to be a commercial filmmaker, which apparently I've never wanted to be, I would have ended the film when Guy Laponte, played wonderfully by Johnny Depp, by the way, comes in and raises his shotgun, and you just hear the war scream, and we cut to black. He continues saying that there's a version of Tusk 2 that you do where you cut to the present and somebody else gets stuck into the spider's web. The house, you hear stories, and when you get to the house, the new Howard Howe is Wallace, who has gotten out of the worst trappings, and stuff is obviously disturbed by his entire ordeal, and is now doing it to others. So there's a way to do Tusk 2 where Justin becomes Michael Park's character, Wallace becomes sort of the new Howard Howe. So yeah, that's a possibility. Tusk 2 is possible. So granted, it's not confirmed or anything like that, but I don't know how the heck does Justin Long come out of the Wars thing is still beyond me. Because if you remember, technically Texas the Warriors is now in like a zoo area. So yeah, I mean, now there's another thing that because this whole Tusk universe was literally part of a cinematic universe, believe it or not. I can't remember the name of it. I think Kevin Smith called it the Canada trilogy because this does take place in Canada, and of course, the second part of the trilogy was Yoga Hosers, which actually featured Johnny Depp's daughter Lily Rose Depp, and who by the way is in that new series Theater, which looks great, and also Kevin Smith's real life daughter Harley Quinn Smith. Where of course they play those musician artists who's also works in that convenience store. They, of course, did the spin off of Yoga Hosers as well. And the third film in this trilogy, by the way, that he was going to do, I kid you not, is a movie called Moose Jaws, which it still has a IMDb page. And Kevin Smith, a couple of years ago, said that he's still planning to do that. Still no word on what Moose Jaws is about, but from the description, it's pretty much Jaws with a moose. Yeah, Kevin Smith has been doing some odd stuff lately, but hey, I've always loved Kevin Smith. I mean, just this guy always talking is very, very fascinating. So if he goes ahead and does another Tusk, sign me up. Will be from A24 this time. Who knows? But of course, Kevin Smith's next movie is Clerks 3, which comes out I believe next week, if I'm not mistaken. And he has some other stuff also in the pipeline. So I mean, remember years ago he said he was going to retire? Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I mean, I'm glad to see Kevin Smith make still doing films and stuff because I remember a few years ago when Kevin Smith. You guys might not even remember this, but if you remember, Kevin Smith literally almost died a few years ago. Remember he had that heart attack. So ever since then, I think he's been wanting to do more. Ever since his heart attack, he seems like he really wants to do more stuff with his friends, and that's what the plot of Clerks 3 pretty much is, with him trying to make a movie with his buddies. And you gotta give him one's work. I mean, Kevin Smith this dude is just such a legend. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say a legend, but I've always loved this guy. Whether it's the Clerks movies, whether it's Jay and Silent Bob, this guy's always been one of my favorite. I mean, I've always loved his movies. So if he does do Tusk 3. Tusk 2, I might say. Sign me up. I'll see it whenever it comes. If this thing ever gets made. But he even said it was even harder to even get the first Tusk off the ground. So who knows when we're gonna get a sequel? If we do one, I guarantee we could get one in 2024 because Tusk will literally be 10 years old that year. So if we do get a sequel, I could totally see it be then. But we'll see. Anyway, and another thing, maybe China doesn't need a major comeback. I mean, I know he has some little movies coming out, but he really needs a major comeback ever since the trial and everything. Could this new sequel maybe focus on Johnny Depp's character? I mean, I remember when I saw Johnny Depp in that thing, I literally almost forgot that was Johnny Depp at first, but that would be cool to see. Anyway, let me let you guys, what are your thoughts on a Tusk show possibly happening? Were you even a fan of the first Tusk? Do you think a sequel could possibly happen? What do you think of the sounding of a possible Tusk show? Drop comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Simon signing out.